All right. So thank you for bearing with me in all of this. Uh, this insanity of technology that, of course, only kicks up. It's like going to the mechanic and everything's fine, but every other time it doesn't work. But this is the opposite. Every other time it works just fine. The webcam works and everything works. Okay, never mind. So I've been using energy tools for almost 10 years with myself, with my clients, and with spec ed students the last couple of years. And what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight are some of the tools that I've found to be effective for people that haven't really done a lot of energy work yet. They're more physical. You don't really have to visualize. You don't have to be able to concentrate on something or be aware of energies, because that can take a while to develop. So if you hang on here later, we'll actually be doing some of this stuff together, and I'll lead you through some of that. So I'm just wondering if this kind of stuff sounds like you. I was asking you earlier what you were hoping to get out of this. So if you see yourself in some of these descriptions, this might actually be a good thing for you. So maybe you feel anxious or blah or a lot, or experience physical symptoms of anxiety like uneasy stomach or other digestive difficulties, or racing heart, or quick and shallow breathing, or chronic muscle tension, or insomnia, can't sleep very well, and it just doesn't make sense. Or maybe there's a low level of anxiety all the time. Or maybe you've tried lots of ways to handle anxiety, but nothing really works all that well. Or maybe a certain situation is causing you or has caused you a lot of stress and trauma. Do any of these sound like you? Or do any of these sound familiar? You sometimes have a sense of dread or unease for no real reason. Or you can suddenly feel anxious or suddenly feel heavy or angry. It's like Robert Munch's book, The Mud Puddle. This little girl comes home and tells her mother that the mud puddle just jumped on her. And that's really how it has felt for me a lot. I would be suddenly just angry, or suddenly really anxious, or suddenly just feeling yuck. And there was nothing around me that I could even attribute it to. That's what makes you crazy, is it doesn't seem to have any real reason for being. And you make all this stuff up about what might be wrong in your life or what could go wrong or all this stuff, and it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't match. Or maybe you don't feel good being in crowds for long. You can handle it, but it just kind of drains you, or just feel yucky after. Or maybe you can't tolerate being around negative or toxic people. I made myself wrong for that. Other people could tolerate some of these people just fine, but it would be like draining a battery dry, or I would take on feel all their stuff or whatever. So please don't make yourself wrong for that. It's just a sensitivity, and it is really challenging to be in groups of people where there's a lot of a repressed kind of heavier emotions. You're going to be the one that feels all that stuff, even if nobody else does. Or maybe you often feel overwhelmed and you feel like you're not enough in some way. You're not good enough, you're not fast enough, you're not smart enough, you're not blah, 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 blah. No matter how much you do or try. Or maybe you're too much of something, which is just not enough in reverse. So this feeling of not enough is signature of anxiety. Absolutely. So I will pop in to look at the comments not now and again, but just know that when I'm going through slides, that screen isn't available to me. Also, number 2, toxic people. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. We've had lots of that, right, Heather? And I just decided it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it for me to be around them, because it's so challenging for me to handle. And maybe I haven't yet developed, a way to do it. The way to actually handle the people that are toxic or that drain you is just to flood them with so much loving energy that they fill up and then they don't bother you anymore. But, you got to really be on top of it. And if you don't actually feel like doing that, then it's really tough. Okay. And maybe this is more like you. You just want to stop running inside. You just feel like you're always running and can't rev down. Or maybe you just want to stop living in panic mode so you can relax and just enjoy life. And some days that's how I feel, especially when I'm doing online marketing. Or maybe you'd like to be able to quiet your thoughts, get control of those runaway thoughts or obsessive or compulsive or whatever kind of thoughts they are, and just be more calm and conscious and present in your everyday life. or maybe you want something more. And that's kind of where we're going with this, all of the above except toxic people. Yeah, okay, good. Well, I'm glad you can handle toxic people. Maybe you want to feel more connected with something greater than what you see around you and what there is around you, and more connected with your own true self, or your, I would say your being, and more connected with your inner knowing. And this is kind of where this webinar particularly will be going. Not just tools to calm down, but tools to kind of go at the core of anxiety and take it higher and deeper. All right. Next, please. So I am doing a course in August, and there are a whole whack load of bonuses for that, and these are some of them. So stay tuned. We'll talk about more of them later to the very end. But some of the things that I've prepared, and this you get right away, is 10 tips for staying sane in groups. And it's always a challenge, and I can never be satisfied with 10. I think there's 11. So I've come up with my best ways to handle being in groups when you're really sensitive. And we have a private tribe social group for everybody that's involved in this, where it's a tribe software, so it's not Facebook. I'll probably also start a secret Facebook group, so it's very private, and people can talk with each other, and I'll be interacting there and keeping in touch and answering questions, or just keeping in touch with you guys regularly. Another one is a calm down sequence video. We'll be doing this in the first module, and it'll also be a video that you can use, and there'll probably be also a morning one. And the Playing with Spaces live workshop. It's a kind of the latest, greatest kind of non-cognitive body work that you'll be starting to do tonight. Clearing the beliefs of not enough, and tools to refine your intuitive awareness. Just more things to help you be able to pinpoint exactly what you're aware of. And a practical guide and an audio to kind of address the whole, I'm going to write a book about this, so you're getting kind of a preview of all that. Beyond helping, rescuing, saving, fixing, healing, and a lot of us are kind of compulsive helpers, and we really find it hard to not do that, even if it's going to be to our detriment, even if it's going to drain us. And so a lot of that is what's going on with this whole package as well. And my top 10 tools for dealing with anxiety, if you haven't picked that up from somewhere on the web yet, I will make sure that you get it, and you'll get it right away. I'll send it out in an email right away. So what we're going to do today, 6 common causes of anxiety, 1 surprising cause, maybe not if you've seen some Facebook ads, and 1 big illusion that creates anxiety, and 4 steps to creating peace and calm in your mind and body, and going beyond just peace and calm in your mind and body, but it all works together. So the first one we'll do is calming your body and mind with powerful physical energy tools. And these come from a variety of energy modalities that I've come through across the years. And I use these with the students at school. And the second step is to transform trauma and stuff into space and ease. It's very simple, and we're going to do it soon, so stay tuned. The third step is to connect with your being, or your true self, or your spirit, or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And this opens up literally a universe of possibilities, because through your own being or your spirit is how you access everything in the universe, and all your support team and everything like that. And we can talk more about that later. And this ensures that you're never alone and you're never unsupported. So when you really get working with your own, as I call them, team, and that's a bit insulting because they're much greater than that, they're always there. And if I feel alone, it's because I'm just choosing to do that. And the last but not least step in this path is to use your intuitive gifts for you instead of against you. And we do that by default, using our gifts against us. So what if a lot of your anxiety, as we were talking about before, is just your awareness of other people's emotions and issues that you've misidentified as yours, because it feels just like yours. It feels like yours in your body. It feels like yours in your mind and your emotions. So what if you could start to use your intuition and your awareness for information to help you know what choices and decisions are right for you on your path? And you certainly can do that, and you start doing that after you get some tools tonight. Another thing we'll do is learn to communicate with your own body. Get yes/no answers for practically anything. And there's 2 ways that we'll do that, and you'll get them tonight. It's very empowering. You can go to the health food store if you're into that sort of thing and ask your body and pick exactly what you require and nothing more without having to ask somebody else's advice. So instead of going to somebody else and they do all this muscle testing, you do it for yourself. It's very cool. And I use it to ask, what body every day. Body, what do you want to wear? Show me, tell me, let me know. And what do you want to eat? All those things. So instead of needing diets, you can just ask your body. It's very, very cool. This is me looking less than glamorous. Actually, that's another turning point in 2007. I pulled out of a major depression and anxiety a long time ago. I'd probably be telling my age too much to say how long ago, but it's quite a while. And then I kind of got busy doing university and stuff and carried on with life. And at this point in 2007, I had just been very involved with this young lady who was dying of cancer, and she just died. And I was very involved, and it was a very complex mix of emotions. I couldn't handle it. And I felt myself starting to spiral down again into depression and anxiety. So I was very desperate. And it was at that point I went to the public library in London, Ontario, and I saw this little tiny ad that said, it was an invitation to learn about EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. So that was the first energy stuff that I did. And since then, I've just kept moving on through them, because I'll work with something really thoroughly, you might say somewhat obsessively, and it's great at the beginning, and then it's like, okay, and then something else will come along, and it's faster and more powerful and better. And so I've done that, gone through EFT, motion code, and then body code, which is a bigger system includes emotion code, and then medicine, which became meta health, and then advanced clearing energetics, and access consciousness, and dominant space. Most recently is Graziano Domenici, and that has felt most native to my true self, but now I'm even more moving into, I think you could say, downloading stuff from my own being and working with my own team instead of following somebody else's system. And that's really what I would wish for everyone, is that you don't need to follow somebody else. We can learn from others, and we can ask our bodies and our beings what we can learn from others, but we don't need a guru. And what if you could access your own knowing and follow that, and the wisdom of your own guides and your own being and source, or God, as you call that. So I've used all those modalities with clients, and I've mostly worked with trickier psychological issues. That's been my interest. And one of the very most trickiest things I've worked with was a young man, I'll call him Mr. T. He was extremely anxious. He was almost non-functional, really. And it was devastating for him. In every area of his life, he was not functioning, and he was really desperate. And we worked together on Skype and on the phone, and there were a lot of tools that he was learning through me at that time, and he used them really diligently and gradually started to climb out and to be able to be more present in his own life. And I just talked to him the other day, and he's in this dream job. He was the top student in his engineering program, and now he's in his dream job down in the U.S., where the economic situation is very low, very difficult, and no one is hiring in the area where he got hired. And it's just he never could have imagined that he could be doing this at this time. So he's really used these tools to create a life that he wants, and he's very, very good at it. He's a very potent creator. And this is what he said: it's all about creating space, creating possibilities, and creating your own reality. And he said, when you create possibilities and don't make conclusions, you get what is beyond what you could ever have imagined. And he's definitely proving that. So, some common causes of anxiety. Medications and physical conditions can cause anxiety. You can Google that for yourself. I'm not going to go into that there, but just know that if you have some physical issues or think there might be, you should check that out with the doctor. And this is not intended to be a substitute for medical care. That's my disclaimer of the evening. So, but yeah, medications can cause anxiety, and there are a lot of physical conditions that can cause anxiety. Heart problems, but not just heart problems, other things too. So it can be that. Stress and trauma can cause anxiety. Our thinking habits can contribute to anxiety, and cognitive therapy addresses that. And one of the bonuses is to give you some of the highlights and sort of like cognitive therapy on speed so that you can look at that. There are certain thinking patterns that contribute to anxiety that can address, but it doesn't go deep enough, in my opinion. CT is very behavior. It's like CBT, they call it, cognitive behavioral therapy. It's very surface, but it is useful in certain places. So don't knock it, but I think more is required personally. Personality actually can contribute to anxiety. We might be caution-oriented or perfectionistic. Detail-oriented also, and I'm quite perfectionistic, so that creates cognitive anxiety. People with ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, and ASD on the spectrum, they have super awareness. So if you think that you might be anywhere in any of those descriptions, even if you're not labeled, there will be an awareness that goes along with that can create anxiety. The choices that we make on a daily basis and have made in the past can cause anxiety. And I say it like this because if we are in a situation or if we are experiencing something that's a result of a choice that we've made, then we can choose differently. It's just a choice. And I used to get really annoyed when people would say it's just a choice, but really it is. And it's very empowering when we realize that we have created our life by our choices, that we can recreate or create something different with different choices. It's never too late to choose differently. Our core beliefs around not enough or too much, and any variation of those can create a fantastic amount of anxiety. So what we've already talked about, this is the fun part, being very aware. Everybody is aware, right? Everybody has gut feelings and, senses, vibes. You walk into a room and you know that somebody's been fighting, or you know who's calling when they phone, or you just get a sense that you shouldn't hang around some place or some people. Everybody has those kind of gut feelings. People with OCD they have that really, really ramped up. They're aware of all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions of everyone up to thousands of miles away. And would that not be quite overwhelming? And that's really what OCD is this super, super awareness that creates a great deal of anxiety. I heard a story about this little girl, and she asked Gary Douglas, her mom asked Gary Douglas to come work with her. He's the founder of Access Consciousness. And so he did some stuff with her, and it was mostly gone. And then he said, "Where's it coming from?" Felt like she was a dirty girl. She was always wringing her hands, and she was 8 years old and felt like she was a dirty girl, and she was very OCD. And they said, "Where's it coming from?" And she pointed over her shoulder to where this feeling was coming from, and it was a second story of their garage. On top of their garage, they were renting out a unit to a man, and it turns out he was watching porn all day. So they soon kind of got rid of him, and she was completely better. There was no issues. And one day afterwards, her mom was driving down the road with her, and she was thinking, "Oh, I just love this little girl so much." And the little girl turns to her and says, "I love you too, Mommy." So she wrote to Gary and she said, "Maybe you're right. Maybe she does know what I'm thinking." Yeah, for sure. So that's the kind of awareness that people can have, and it can cause a lot of anxiety. So how much of your anxiety is caused by your awareness of other people's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and issues, and what's going on for them, their energies? And the trick is it always feels like our own stuff. And you can only really start to figure out what's going on when you start to ask questions, open-ended questions. So the grand illusion, here it is. We persist in feeling that we're alone and in thinking that we are separate. A few years ago, I realized there's no such thing as privacy in this universe. No such thing. We're sending out energy. Our thoughts are going out as energy, which other people can pick up on, other beings that we can't see us, know what we're thinking and feeling all the time, as do other people who have bodies. So we are not separate. And this is an illusion that we perpetuate here on Earth. And what if we could start to operate differently and realize that we are connected to everything? So feeling disconnected can create a lot of anxiety, because then we feel alone. And when we feel separate, we feel like we can be alone. But what if we are never disconnected, never separate, and never alone? And that can just ease some of the anxiety right there. We can be disconnected from our bodies, and our bodies are connected to everything. They're connected. They're like as instinctual as any birds or other animals. They operate quite well connected to the universe. We can be disconnected from our being, our spirit, or our true self. Not that we can be truly disconnected, but we're not working with our being, I guess, not consciously aware. We can be disconnected from our invisible helpers, who are kind of waiting for us to ask them to help. And from Source or God or Universe or Allah or consciousness or Creator, or whatever you will call that consciousness that permeates everything. And we're often disconnected from each other on this planet, pretending that we're separate, and we are anything but. So if we could connect to all the support and all the resources that are available to us in the universe, we would never feel alone or unloved or lacking anything ever again. And that's something that's available to anybody. All right, let's get on with it. So, some practical physical energy tools to calm your mind and body. So we're going to do these 3 tonight. There are lots more, but just these can open up so much space and ease. The crown pull comes from Donna Eden, and it's deceptively simple. I'll talk about a few different things, and then we're going to do them all in one to minimize tech things going from slide to camera. I'll demonstrate the EFT shortcut, and we'll do it together, and I'll send a chart of the points for you later. And then press and release, I don't know what else to call it. It's just kind of what I do, working with points on the head and on the body and to open up space. And we're going to combine these with others. So transforming trauma or anything is the second step. You can transform any situation, any problem, any emotion, any feeling, any thought, any belief, anything. And we're going to use some tools that are more advanced than energy work. We're going beyond the latest stuff. This is the latest stuff. So working with spaces. I first learned this from Graziano Dominici, and he teaches what he calls dominant space. And then I've played with it and mangled it and, adapted it for my own self. And yes, I call it playing with spaces. It's non-cognitive body work, so your mind gets to rest and your body gets to help out. Your body can actually be a facilitator, can help you out. And the general guideline is whatever you can imagine you can do. It's that much fun and it's that easy. And we'll get to that in a minute. So we let our body facilitate and help us to release energies that are no longer working for us. And it's a bit different than working with energies, because a space, if you think of it like a globe or a ball that you can hold in your hands, it's like a system of energies, and it has a lot of energies in it. It has all sorts of stuff in it. So when we transform a space, we're transforming everything that's in that space, all the molecules and energies, everything. And that makes it much more powerful and much faster. Now we're getting into the area of quantum entanglement, where communication is instant across space when there's quantum connection, quantum entanglement. Okay, I'm not a scientist, but you, Mikey, will know exactly what I'm talking about. You're probably making a comment right now, if I could just see. Nope. Okay, so I can send you links later if you ask, but I was just looking the other day, some Chinese physicists, they were the ones that proved Einstein's spooky action at a distance is actually something that happens, and entangled atoms can communicate instantaneously across space, faster than the speed of light, like 10,000 times faster than the speed of light at least. So you can find out more about the underpinnings and methodology of the playing with spaces. Well, no, that's what I do, but dominant space and all that from Graziano, Dr. Graziano Dominici, and there's other links. Ask me, I'll send you these other blog links. It's really cool. The whole spooky action at a distance that's now being proved by science. How does it get any better than that? Third step is to get connected with your own being, which is like your true self. It's greater than your mind, greater than your personality, and we'll do a exercise to open this up. And the expand exercise is what we're going to do. And you could practice doing this 50 times a day, and it wouldn't be too much. Mostly we contract like chicken wire, and we'll talk about that more actually when we're doing it. So for now, before we start to play with these tools, if you could just close your eyes and scan your body and look for any places that don't feel so great. Maybe there's a yuck feeling or tension, or it just feels dense, or it isn't ease. Find something specific that you can use as a measure and that you can work on today. I wouldn't choose a major trauma for this kind of situation. You might want a little bit more support than this. So choose something. And we're going to do the crown pull, EFT anxiety shortcut, press and release, playing with spaces, and expand exercise. So I'm going to switch over to camera now, and I will allow a few seconds for you to catch up, and I'll just ask you to show me in the chat box when you can see me, and then we'll get started with that so I kind of know what our lag is like. Good. Okay, everybody else here? Good. Natalie? I can count. I could count to 100. Can you guys hear me yet? And now we have to count to 7. So much time lag. That's why we don't do interactive stuff with these. Okay, so let's get started. You can look at me. You don't have to be shy because you're in your own house. I'm in mine. Okay, so if you could just, we're going to do the crown pull first. And just put your fingers in the middle of your forehead and just pull out. So you're just pulling from the midline out to the side. And you're just kind of opening up space. And you can breathe. Breathing is always a good thing. Never goes, so you can breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. So you're starting in the midline and going to the side, going towards your ears, all the way down the back of your head. And breathe out. And you're going to go down your neck. Okay, good. And you can do this anytime. It's just, it feels good. Okay, and now let's do the EFT anxiety shortcut. It's actually just a shortcut, but it's great for anxiety. So what we're actually doing is stimulating the endpoints of major acupuncture meridians. So it's sort of like psychological acupuncture, if you will. And so you can tap, you can rub, you can hold. I like tapping because it's a little bit more physical, and I think it's probably just a tiny bit more effective. But if you want to be discreet in public, you can rub. So top of the head. Inside of the eyebrow, you can use one hand or two hands. You can do either side. It doesn't matter. So inside of the eyebrow, side of the eye on that orbital bone, under the eye on the bone, under the nose, under the mouth, flat hand on your collarbone, and then under the arm. Ladies, this would be about where your bra strap is. Stand up so you can see. Okay. And take a deep breath. So if you think about something upsetting and do this, it's even better, because then you're bringing out that energy to be cleared. So top of the head, take a deep breath, breathe in, and inside of the eye, breathe out. Eyebrow. Outside of the eye, breathe in, and under the eye, breathe out. Under the nose, breathe in, and under the mouth, breathe out. Collarbone, breathe in. See, it works. And under the arm, breathe out. Take a deep breath. Okay, and let's just do another round. So top of the head, inside of the eyebrow, outside of the eye, under the eye, nose, under the mouth, collarbone, pat, pat, pat. You're also stimulating your thymus gland under there and under the arm. Take a deep breath. Okay, we'll just do that. Enough for now. So the press and release, we get closer to playing with spaces when we're doing this. And you can do it with any points in the body, but there's some that seem a little bit more like gateways to open up your body to your being, I guess, and I've been looking for them. The midline is always a good thing on your body and on your brain, on your head. So let's just start the same place. So instead of pulling it out, we're just going to just press and then expand. And if you want to think it like pulling out taffy, so you're actually going to be just creating space, have the intention of creating space. And you can breathe. Oh my goodness, yes, that's nice. So it's like you're pulling something out. Yeah, you're pulling out space. So creating more space in your head. And, okay. And there's another great spot, and it's where you're, on me anyway, it's where your skull sticks out at the back, those two spots there. So press and release that and expand that. Okay, and you can do it all along this line on either side of the midline. But let's just do here, top of the head, and that. This is a really powerful spot, especially in Access. There's a point when you do a body process called the aging toaster, and actually what you're doing is about 3 inches into the brain, into the middle of the brain. And interestingly enough, that's kind of the area where dopamine is produced. So for ADHD, that's really powerful spot. And I sometimes play with spaces, and I've kind of twirled spaces down into that and played right with that area of the brain. So that's something I like to do, is use the playing with spaces and see if we can change kind of the neurology or the neurochemical stuff that's going on in your brain. Might as well, right? Might as well push the boundaries and see what we can change. So that one, you're opening up that one. Another great ones are right in, oops, wrong side. I'm backwards. Right in front of your ear. So there's 3 spots there. If you just put your fingers there right in front of your ear, can you see what I'm doing? And then bring that out. Or you can do it like that. And actually around your ears, this is very live. If you've ever had any acupuncture done, you see how many acupuncture points there are in your ears, how many needles they can put in there. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. And sometimes when I'm working with people doing body work and playing with spaces body work, I'll just kind of be working and creating more space and ease around this area a lot. So you can do that. You can just, so press and just pull out. And you guys are pretty sensitive. You might feel it. You might not feel anything. I was doing energy stuff for, well, I didn't feel energy stuff doing EFT or any of that or emotion code. I didn't feel it then, and not until I started doing Access, and it was months actually before I started to feel energy in my hands, and I was sensitive to it in my hands. So if you're feeling anything, awesome. If you're not, it's also awesome, because it doesn't mean you're not doing anything, but you might feel a sense of expansion. Okay, and you can go down your, that's another nice spot. Just thymus, you can do that. So just anywhere, just follow your sense of where would be nice. Back of your head, wherever. But you can do this to your whole head. And just expand. Okay, and that leads us, no, we're doing playing with spaces. Okay, cool. So, whatever you found in your body, oddly calming. Yes, it is oddly calming. It's cool. Yeah. The thing about when you work with the spaces, this is not working with energies, that one. The press and release is working with space. And when you do that, it's like nothing and everything all at once. You don't feel any currents of electricity running through you. Like when we do access body processes, like, you know, you feel that. But this, you don't feel anything, and stuff just dissipates away. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a completely different platform than working with energies, actually. Okay, so playing with spaces. Find whatever isn't really ease in your body. If it's your stomach, it's your shoulder or your neck or something like that that you found, or some kind of feeling in your heart that isn't very happy or whatever. Can you bring that out in front of you? I'm going to have gigantic hands now. Back up a bit. It's times 2. Cutting out a lot? Oh, gosh. I can refresh Control F5. Do you want me to do that again? Okay. Are we okay here? Okay. Good, then let's carry on. So whatever wasn't feeling so good in your body, whether it's your shoulder, just can you bring that out as a space in front of you? Just like you're holding a globe. You know those world globes you can spin? Well, that's how I actually started. I heard somebody talking about, I can't even remember. I combined a couple things, and it was like they were talking about the space of something, and then they said rotate it, and then rotate it again, and rotate it again. I'm like, well, come on, like, why don't you just be efficient and spin it to start with instead of all this fuss and repeating? So when I started playing with spaces, this actually was just taking what this ball of space from whatever it was, I can't remember what I was working with, can be a space, can be a physical sensation, but you're bringing it out of your body, in front of your body, so that you can actually play with it and work with it. We lost somebody. Who'd we lose? Heather. Oopsies. Okay. She'll probably come back in, hopefully. Maybe she's trying to refresh. I'll just wait. She's probably refreshing her browser. Oh, you're okay. Oh, you're not. You weren't in the chat. What happened? You dropped off the chat. Okay. So bring it out in front of you. Oh, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, it can be an emotion. It can be a physical sensation. It can be a problem. It can be a situation. It can be something that you kind of see that you are thinking or believing that is stuck. So just poof, the space of that contains all the energies that are involved in that. So when you do this, you don't have to do one little thing at a time and pick apart all the strands and chop down all the trees, right? This is way, way beyond EFT. You're just going to deal with the whole thing at once. So what I'd like you to do, if you're feeling shy, I'm feeling shy because you can see me. Close your eyes. But just play with that space and let your hands do what they will. Okay, let your body facilitate you for a change. Instead of you lording it over your body, let your body help you, because it would like to and it's able to. So and just let your body do what it will. And you might expand that space. You might spin it. You can spin it backwards and forwards. You can spin it around the axis every way, like a globe, if you want to do that. You can take spaces out of it. You can think out of it. You can make vortices. You can do anything you can imagine, right? Whatever you can imagine, you can do. One lady, I gave her that instruction. She had this tension in her shoulder, and she started ironing it. And I'm like, okay, would never have thought of that, but it worked for her. So it will be unique to you what you can do with it, but these are just some suggestions of things. So do whatever you want. Sometimes I find that a pattern interrupt for something is a clap, and you might want to expand it infinitely. That's another thing you can do. And that's something that we'll address in the course too, is instead of avoiding things that we don't like fear or some feelings, and pushing them away or trying to clear them, you can actually walk right into it and embrace it and expand it out infinitely. And then you're actually in it when you expand it infinitely. I slinkied. Oh, cool. Okay, cool. So I'm just playing with my hands here. Yeah, I'm not going to focus on my own stuff tonight. So do whatever is working for you. I'll just kind of BS while you're playing with your hands. So, and then when I'm doing body work, what it's evolved for me is that playing with spaces, but also I think now I'm also sort of like I'm using light when I do body work, because I'll be like focusing it. And anyway, that's just my unique thing. When I started to be in the space of my being, then my own way of doing body work started to just happen. It just started to happen. So that's kind of cool. So it's not something that you can learn from somebody else. Your body's way of facilitating, or what your being, your capacities are, they will show up when you're in the space of your being. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next thing that we do. But in the course that we're going to do, there'll be a lot of that. How to get into the space of your being, how to stay there, how to get past blocks. And it's not a small thing, because we tend to be very distant from our true selves. Okay, I think you guys are mostly done. Can you give me some feedback? Type what's gone on. I'm very curious on that one. Actually, you know what? Let's do another one, and I'll get feedback about all of it in a minute. Okay, so let's do the expand exercise. I think you're ready to go on, I hope. So for this one, if you could just close your eyes. Juggling. You guys are so amazing. Slinkying and juggling. Yes, absolutely. You know what? I know some people that are into using, well, you could say transcendental experience drugs, right? They're doing ayahuasca, and anything else that gives them LSD would be one of them. Yawning is releasing, Heather. Yawning and sighing means you're releasing stuff. So they're doing all this transcendental stuff, and I'm like, but you don't need drugs. Like, you can do the same thing doing what we're doing, right? And so a true shaman, I've been thinking about shaman stuff a lot lately, and they're all into this shaman stuff, and I'm like, a true shaman doesn't use drugs. In the beginning, they didn't use drugs. They didn't need them. They created their own transcendental experiences with energy and space. Yeah. So you can get back into the bliss now, and there's lots more cool stuff you can do to get some really interesting experiences. When you start being able to put your attention to different realities and dimensions, yeah, we can go lots of places with that. It's really very fun, and it's just bliss. It really is, and I love having time in the morning. I don't sacrifice that for anything anymore, because I really love to play. You can get high on your own stuff. Why would you do it with anything else? So do you want me to refresh? I'm not. You refresh, I think. You're in a cool pose. Oh, I froze in a cool pose. Oh, your browser or mine? I'm not sure what to do about that. I can refresh if you like. Okay. Audio is still cutting in and out. Okay, good. And Heather, how's it for you? Okay, cool. So let's do this expand exercise. All right, so close your eyes. And so your being is infinite and can expand infinitely. And actually, you know, I asked this question once to people at a dinner party, just to kind of be a bit of a, you know, a poop disturber. I said, so are we spiritual beings having a physical experience, or are we physical beings having a spiritual experience? And they looked at me like I was from Mars, and they said, well, of course we're physical beings having a spiritual experience. And I'm like, okay, end of topic. But what if we are primarily beings and our body is actually within our being? Does that make sense? Even though we can be disconnected from it, it is within our being. It is smaller. So our being is embodied in this reality. So your being's infinite. So can you expand your being? And if your brain doesn't know what I'm saying, that's highly cool. Don't worry. There's part of you that does. So expand your being to fill the room that you're in. Okay? And to fill the building that you're in. Yep, you guys are so fast, you think you haven't done it, and you've done it already. And expand your being to fill the neighborhood. Yep. And to fill the town. Or the city. Come on. Mikey, if you're in Toronto, you've got a bigger city to fill than Weyburn. Okay. And now fill the, where are we? Fill the province that you're in. Expand, you can. Okay, if it feels vulnerable, that's cool. You're not. Actually, the more expanded you are, the safer you are, because there's more space between the molecules for all that nasty stuff to go through. Okay, cool. Expand to be as big as the country, whatever country you're in, which I'm assuming in Canada. Okay, and expand in all directions your being. Expand your being in all directions as big as the world. Cool. A little more ease there. And now expand out into space as far as you need to go until it gets quiet. So past all activity for you. Past all your activity out there until it gets quiet. Wow. You guys are big beings. You'd be shocked to find out how far this is. Yeah, keep going. Keep going. Don't worry about how far it is. Just go. You're still here. Alrighty. Cool. Do you feel a bit more space with that now? So do that often during the day. Often, often, often. That's what's going to create the most ease for you with your kids, with that anal husband, with whatever you're dealing with, Mikey. Okay, with all those other parents and people that you work with and whatever it is. It's going to create more ease. And then in the course, we'll get talking about letting go of your points of view of what you're aware of. Because what really sticks us is we're aware of something, but we have a real point of view or an opinion or a judgment about it. And that's when it really bothers us. You notice you can be aware of somebody playing music in the next campground. If you like the music, it doesn't bother you. But if you don't like the music, you notice how it gets more and more annoying. I was just camping. That's my metaphor for right now. Okay, take a deep breath and expand out again. Woof, there you go. Can you do it again? Okay, so you can keep doing that. And you can just do it, just ask to do it. Go, right? You can just do it that fast. You don't have to do this whole process. Alrighty, I am going back to slides. So give me some time here with the transition. Unless you wanted to give me some feedback here while I'm still with the chat room. Can you tell me how that was for you? That would probably be the best time to do it. So did anybody feel lightheaded or dizzy? Huge yawns. Yep, that's great. That's awesome. You big energy being, you. Yeah, Heather, I've known for years. You've got great capacities in this regard. So this stuff would be really useful for you. And if you got huge yawns, that's huge releases, huge shifts. So that's awesome. Mikey, how about you? If you get lightheaded doing this, it's because you're not used to being that expanded. It's not a problem. I was, the very first time that I took this, it's called Access Bars. I took a bars class. We're back to toxic people. Okay, I think you should take my course, Mikey, because we talk about that helping healing thing. You know how much they truly might need someone. You're right, too. You just need to give up. Tell me, I don't get that. What? Everybody can be toxic sometimes. That's true. That's very true. And I know this lady that's very toxic and she's very needy. She wouldn't be toxic if she wasn't so needy. You know, I get it. At the same time, I find it really challenging to handle. And I know that I'm toxic sometimes, for sure. And I'm more aware of when I am like that, and I try to take care of it so that I don't dump all that over somebody else. I just appreciate people who hang in there with me when I am, or give me some indication. One friend just says, yeah, gotta go. It's like, oh, yeah, right, I was getting kind of negative. Oops. So, yeah, you can't push them away, but you need to be kind to yourself first. And that's something that's really hard to do when you have a lot of programs running about healer, helper, and this is not maybe from this particular reality or lifetime. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff there that keeps us hooked in, and I'm very much that way, and I've been working on clearing all those kinds of attachments and programs and oaths and vows and stuff like that for a while. And hard to stop and say, not help somebody is the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do if that's what's running for you. Okay, we're going to move on. Going back to slides. Here we go. Can't help it sometimes to ask for people's understanding through it a lot of the time, but I know it can be the worst to deal with someone negative. Working on it though. Freezing up again. Oh my goodness, that's frustrating. Okay, good. You know that your energy can affect technology and electricity too, right? When we're doing this kind of stuff, it can affect your computer and it can affect. So one time I had to shield all my computer because that was the only way. We were doing too much high-powered stuff. Yeah, so this is electricity. It does affect things. Okay, so can you scan your body again and pay particular attention to the part of your body that you were working on? So has the discomfort shifted? Is it different in some way? Is it still there? You know, what's going on? And if it's not there, don't go looking for it. And that's when we do working with spaces, playing with spaces, even as much as we did. Like I've been in classes where somebody will do something like that with their body, and then they'll start looking around. And the facilitator was saying, don't look for it. And I didn't realize I was doing that too. As you're looking, where did it go? Like, what happened to that? It's like, it can disappear that fast. It's very, very fast. Step in this pathway is the business of being super aware or intuitive or empathic or sensitive or psychic or whatever you want to call it. And the tool that we're using for that, we've talked about this already. The tool that we're using for that is just one simple question. Is this really mine? And you might say, that's a tool? Yes, this question is a tool. And it is one of the most powerful things that you can do to create more ease for yourself. It has really changed my life. Seriously. Because when I feel something, at first it took me, it would take me 3 days to even think of asking, who does this belong to? Or is this really mine? And that it took months when I first started doing this. It took months for that time to shorten. And now when I don't feel good or I feel yuck, I think of it almost right away. It's like, whoa, stop. I don't usually feel like this. Is this really mine? Okay, but it's taken a long time for that to be a reflex. So we can have tools, but we don't think to use them. This is one you might want to write on the back of your hand, Is this really mine? And look at it all day long. Is this really mine? What I'm thinking. Is this really mine? Because 99% of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not yours. They are somebody else's or something else's, or they're being projected at you, or you're aware of them from somewhere. Maybe you've taken them on, but not necessarily. I realized I haven't actually taken on, or I'm not anymore taking on as a healer as much stuff as I used to, but I'm aware, and there's no difference in how it feels. So I'll ask, is this in my body? No. Oh, okay, so I'm aware of it. It could be in my body for all I can tell. So you ask, is this really mine? So every thought and feeling, emotion, do it. And then the answer that you're asking for, how you figure out if it's yours or not. If, when you ask that question, it feels light and expansive, that's a yes. Or if it feels heavy and contracted, that's a no. So light and expansive might not be physical feeling, might just more where your energy feels light and stuff. Heavy and contracted can be something you feel in your body, and I would feel it usually in my stomach, just ooh. Some people feel that heavy contracted feeling in their heart or their lungs, or that's mostly its shoulders maybe, or something like that. But yeah, wherever you feel it. So just try that now. Just pick some emotion that you have lurking around the edge of your world. And the spot you focused on is gone. Yeah, of course it is. So pick some emotion or some thought that you have that bothers you. And just ask, is that really mine? And then see if it feels light and expansive, or if it feels heavy and contracted. And that's your yes, no. And you can use that for anything. It took me a while to transition from using muscle testing, and we'll talk about that next, to using the light and heavy. The light and heavy is the most accurate. You need a cat. Yeah, when you're talking about money, you're asked, do I need money? When you're talking about money, actually, a good thing to do is ask, and what would that give me? 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 And then that's probably what you really need. So money give you freedom, give you travel, whatever. And what would that give me? Get right down to what it is. And then whatever it's going to give you is something that you can probably create in your life without money, and then that will attract money when you already have the feeling. Isn't that fun? So, so when you're asking the light and heavy, because I'm aware of everything, I must be a bit on the spectrum or something. I have that kind of awareness. I don't have any filters. So I'll go into a restaurant and it's like, Body, what do you want to eat? Oh, no idea, right? I'll say, okay. Yes, of course, because I'm aware of what everybody in here wants to eat. No wonder I can't figure out what to eat. So I'll say, truth, Body, if it were just you and me with no points of view, what would you like to eat? Or you can say, Body, if it were just you and me with no points of view, truth, Okay, cut through the lies and the BS and the deceptions. Truth, is this really mine? So if you're not sure, you can add a few more layers to that. Body, if it were just you and me, my body was like, really? Just you and me? When I first started asking that, like we're going on a hot date, me and my body, it's like just you and me? Can't believe it. After everybody else has been in my space for so long, taking over, it's like, wow. So if we're just you and me with no points of view, truth, is this really mine? Light or heavy? And we start to explore this stuff a lot more in our course in August. So we refine our ability to know what we know. We already know. We're already aware, but it's just being cognitively aware of what we already instinctually or intuitively or physically know. When you have stuff going on in your body, you can also ask, body, is there something you'd like me to know? Is there some message you'd like to give me? And see what comes up. Okay, so this is the sway test. I'm not going to demonstrate because you can see the picture there, but you can try this. This is something you can try at home, folks. And you might have seen this. If you want to see a YouTube video, I think there are lots on YouTube of people demonstrating this, but it's really easy. Your body instinctually moves towards what is true or congruent or light or good for you or nurturing or lovely or beautiful, and it instinctively moves away from what is not what is congruent or nice or good for your body. And you'll notice if you're around somebody that doesn't feel good, how you kind of recoil or cross your arms or move back. That's just an instinctive response. And how you'll lean towards somebody that you're really interested in. So you can try it right now if you're standing up or could stand up. So stand in a neutral position and think of something really nurturing and beautiful and lovely. Don't think of a relationship because there's usually too many layers there, but something that there are no layers, just something in nature, beautiful, or, whatever is really nurturing for you. And just see if your body will sway toward forwards or backwards. And it'll be very slight. Don't worry, you won't fall over. And if you do, you're a coordinated being. You can sort it out, you can step forward. Okay, and now think of something that's really nasty. It's not hard to find those images. They're on any social media you look. Just think about the election in the States. Or any kind of war or whatever. Anything nasty, and see if your body moves forward or back. Might be slight or it might be strong. So your body is calibrated correctly. Your energy is moving the same direction. This is just a calibration. You're finding out how you're calibrated. So if you moved forward for the nurturing thing, that's a yes, you're cool. If you moved backwards for the negative thing or the nasty thing, that's a no, you're cool, you're calibrated, and you're good to go. So when you ask your body a yes-no question, then you can trust that if it goes forward, it's going to be a yes, and backward, it's going to be a no. If it goes sideways, and I've had this happen, it's weird, feels really weird. Just body side to side to side, and it's like, well, I can't really answer it. It's kind of saying, I can't really answer that question. Because it might be maybe you're asking two questions at once, or maybe there's a question underneath the question. It's not straightforward. Or maybe you're just asking it in a way that's kind of hard to give a clear answer. So try again differently. Be really specific, be really clear. So, and I use the sway test actually if I buy supplements, which I hardly do anymore. I hardly need any because I'd ask my body, it's like, no. I should probably check again and see if there's something. But so I'd use a sway test in the drugstore, the health food store, to find out what exactly. So body magnesium, yes or no, and then what brand, this brand, yes or no, that brand, yes or no, and then what dosage, like what strength, yes or no, this one, that one, that one. And you can just look at it or think of it. You don't need to be holding it. So a lot of people do muscle testing and they go through this whole ritual of holding something. No. And you don't need to know what it is either. You have access to everything that knows. You don't even need to know what you're muscle testing. So that's very cool. And that's a very, very powerful tool to have in your toolkit for life. So you can use this. The sway test is probably the most reliable of the physical, like applied kinesiology muscle testing. There's some others with interlinking your fingers and stuff like that. Those can be messed with, and you can throw it off by what you're thinking. But the sway test is more core, and it's probably a good one to start with. And if you're really in doubt, if you feel like there's something funny going on, your muscle testing is weird, I would go back to the sway test and use that because it's more reliable. But using truth when you ask the question and saying if it had no points of view and body, if it was just you and me, those things can help it to be more reliable yet. All right. So, from all this, sway test, light and heavy, working with your own awareness, connecting with your being that's connected to everything in the universe, you actually do already have what you're looking for, or you have access to it, and you already know what you're asking or what you're seeking. So what you really require is going within, not looking for another guru to follow. It's cheaper too, hey? It's a good thing. But pay me, right? And I'll teach you how to go within. Oh, yeah. So there's a couple students that I've worked with in the last couple of years. Well, there are quite a few. I've been teaching the tools to anyone that's willing at school, basically. And this is all special education, so they all have some pretty amazing abilities, but they have different degrees of willingness, greatly differing degrees of willingness. Some people think I'm very weird, and some people, yeah, okay. So this girl was in the library. She wasn't my student, but I'd seen her everywhere. It's just a small school. And she's all over the map, like can't focus, like a flea, like really, really all over the map. I don't know what all is going from her. I haven't read her records. I don't even know, but she really cannot even focus enough to do anything or complete a conversation. So we're just standing there and said, hey, do you want to try something different? Sure. So she did the crown pull and the EFT shortcut a few times, just like you did it. And then she says, oh, she sagged. I'm so tired. And I was just kind of laughing. It's like, I think the word might be relaxed. But yeah, if you're running, on overdrive all the time like that, probably she is tired. First time I'd ever seen her relaxed and calm. So it was very cool. Another student, Jay, I'll call him Mr. J. He was my music student, and he was very anxious. And in every class, the teachers were concerned about his anxiety. These are even teachers that aren't usually so perceptive. So one day, I knew all this. And so one day in music class, he was just spinning around in his anxiety. And I said, do you want to try something different? Yeah, sure. He's very keen, really agreeable kid. So I got him to spin the space of his being. And that's something we'll do more in the online course. This is where it gets sort of into LSD territory, Mikey. Using his hands and his imagination to think of it as a globe spinning like you did. So he's spinning the space of his being. And I was asking in my own head, because he hadn't done this at all before. Neither of these kids had ever done any of this stuff before. So I was asking, so what space could we add to his space that would help him? Because I was just helping him, he was brand new to all this. And what came to me was to add the space of power. And I go, oh, really? Okay, whatever. Because I'm, ease, freedom, fun, those would come to mind. So we spun his space and the space of power until they were the same and they could combine, and then brought that into his body. This took 10 minutes. And that was all we did. And he was happy, like bouncy, relaxed, and good to go. Bye-bye. And every time I'd see him in the hallway for the next 2 weeks, he'd say, I'm still spinning spaces, miss. I'm still spinning spaces. Good. You keep doing that. So he's been my student. That was last year, and then he's been my student this year. And he's very keen, and these things work for him. I'm so happy when people are willing to do it, and it works for them. So, what would you like to transform in your life, or what would you like to create? Because sometimes the stuff we want to change is more compelling to us than the stuff we want to create. That comes later. But it's not about just getting rid of the crap. It's about creating something great in our lives. And so that comes eventually. So maybe you feel underlying anxiety all the time, don't know how to change it, or maybe you've tried a lot of different things and they don't seem to help to make you more relaxed, or maybe there's a certain situation that's causing you anxiety, or you've had some trauma in the past that's still kicking up anxiety. Trauma that's been buried or not dealt with can cause residual anxiety for the rest of your life. You don't know what to do about it, or maybe you're here because you feel anxious being around other people. Well, there's lots of ways. And some people say I'm too busy, and these tools sound great, but my situation's different. It's more complex and it's too difficult and there's too much stuff and I'm locked in, or whatever it might be. And there are all those possibilities, but when you're willing to try something and open up to different possibilities, things can change, and it might seem just sort of like magic. Just putting that out there. Maybe you're too busy, but 20 minutes a day of playing with this stuff and getting into the space of your being can change your life. So is a 20-minute routine okay? You can do that? I bet you guys could do that. So it's just a choice. You know that annoying saying, it's just a choice? I've had facilitators say that to me in many classes, and I would half want to kill them. Because I didn't want to think that I'd created my own situation, or that I could create differently, or that I'd chosen where I was, or that I could choose differently. There's something in us that really likes to be a victim and really likes to feel helpless, and then we can say, I can't. So I have deep sympathy for that stance, and I still choose it now and again, thinking that I'm a victim or something can't be changed. So you can choose to keep repeating what sort of worked, or you can step into something more powerful. And this is what the course looks like. First step, we've gone through all this already. Calm your body, your brain and body with simple, powerful energy tools. Release stress and trauma with playing with spaces body work. Embrace the space of your being. Connect with your true self and all the resources of the universe. And embrace your intuitive gifts and use your intuitive awareness for you instead of against you. So this course gives you the exact tools in the process with guided support, that's me, to transform anxiety into calm and peace in your brain and body, connection with your inner self and your inner knowing, connection with something greater in the universe, and energized, calm ability to create whatever you would like to create in your life. And, you know, I've just started noticing, like we have to notice what we're creating, especially when you're creating really cool stuff. And it's just like things just started to happen, like this and this and this. It's like, oh, isn't this great? This is happening. It's not happening. Hello? You're creating that, and then you can create more. I'm not going to read these. So this starts on August 4th. That is next week, a week from Thursday. So Thursday evenings, 4th, 11th, and 18th, 8 p.m. Toronto time. And then there's a bonus interactive workshop on the 16th. That's Tuesday. And that's where we really dive into playing with spaces body work. And you work on your own stuff. So it's more free form there. I would love to do it on Zoom if we can, so I can see people, but we'll see how that goes. And the first module is calming the mind, body, mind. We've said that. I'll skip all of that. So that's the program, or that's the schedule. And here's what you'll be able to do. Calm yourself quickly and easily, and improve your sleep, improve your focus, your ability to relax as well, improve your ability to be calm and present with yourself and with others, so be more in the moment, to be able to communicate with your body about anything that concerns it, and start to be able to calm down out of control thinking. That's one of the bonuses. And the Playing Spaces workshop, you'll be able to transform past trauma, big or little trauma, big T or little t, and current stress. That can be chronic stress or acute stress, with simple tools that you can use anywhere and anytime. And we can also use that to transform core beliefs of not enough. And if we can, I'd like to work on the not enough stuff in that workshop. instead of just a written exercise, so that you can really kind of get rid of some stuff about that. In Module 2, be able to get into the space of your being, get past the blocks, various ways of getting into the space of your being, and connect with all the unseen resources your being has access to and communicate with them. And you'll be able to invite contribution from the earth and from all over the universe with ease and receive it. So this is the asking and receiving. And you'll be able to start reclaiming parts of you. That's like what other systems might call soul retrieval or shadow work. But if you think, like I started asking myself the question, what was it again? What do I think I could never be? And what would I never want to be? And then start playing with spaces to bring those back into my life. And that's another whole session, or that's pretty advanced stuff, is doing all that. But we'll start doing some of that. Have more of your being in your body. That is my aim all the time, is what's it going to take to have more of my being manifested in this body, to physically actualize in this body, so that what I am living and walking and doing from day to day is more true to my being, more my true self. And your being is amazing, by the way, amazing. So having more of that in your daily life is amazing. And you'll be able to move from living in fight and flight to living more at one. And that's the whole goal, communion, being at one with your being, with your core team, and with all things. Module 3, you'll be able to refine your gift of awareness, your intuition, with deceptively simple tools and what next flowcharts. And you'll be able to use your awareness for information and guidance to make decisions and choices and take next steps. This is invaluable, to have this kind of inner guidance. And you'll be able to use your awareness to help you create what your heart desires as if by magic. You saw what that young man, Mr. T, and I mean, he's created amazing stuff, and his whole family has. It's very cool. And you'll be able to identify your healer helper gifts and capacities, and be able to start to have more ease with your desire to help and heal. Mikey, this will be especially useful to you. Heather as well. And start to get free of the compulsion to fix, save, and rescue. And we sometimes don't realize how much of a compulsion it is and how unkind we're being to our bodies in what we do with that. This is what is on the website you can take a look at. I won't read all of this, but this is what we do in Module 1 and the bonuses. And you can read it for yourself in just a few minutes. And in Module 2, this is what we do, embracing the space of your being. So practicing getting into the space of your being and playing with the space of your being, etc., etc. And in Module 3, this is where we work on embracing your intuitive awareness. And there's lots of tools to do that. And I've been really working on that a lot for myself, so I have lots of stuff to share there. And these are the bonuses for being willing to jump in. So for both of you, just checking this out. Mikey, thank you for coming to check this out, because even doing that takes courage to check out something different. So if you have even more courage to jump in, that's even better, and we reward that, of course. So that's the bonus that you get right away, is 10 tips for staying sane in groups of people, and then access the tribe social thing. And the other bonuses come along with the modules, so they be delivered later. And the other, so I'm leaving this open, this other bonus, the guided audio bonus, open until August 1st, because I'm doing a live workshop. Mike, this might be applicable to you. On Saturday, I'm doing a 2-hour workshop down at Happy Soul, 961 Bloor Street West. Happy Soul, I think it's called. And there's a 2-hour, and we're going to do all of this plus have time to really play with stuff there. So you're welcome to come if you like. I think it's $10, and you can phone them and ask me for details, phone numbers and stuff if you want. So I'm leaving this open till after that. That'll be next Monday. That bonus, audio bonus, to clear the oaths, vows, and programs and attachments to do with healing and helping, to clear points of view, about what we're aware of, and some tools to create more ease with, what was the third thing on there? Anyway, creating more ease with helping and healing in some way. Sorry, that'll be on that page. You can look at it for yourselves. And of course, then the next question is, well, what's it cost? Don't have the money. 197 Canadian. That's for all the bonuses, all that stuff. 3 modules. Playing Spaces workshop to get level 1 and 2. Recordings, slide decks for the modules. And the bonuses include, as you saw, how-tos, tip sheets, videos, audios, that sort of thing. And then online private online social groups where I interact with everybody and we can talk about stuff. Or you can do 2 payments of $99 each, 2 weeks apart. That's another payment option. Refund policy. This has changed my life. It can change yours, but if you get into it and you find it doesn't work for you or you don't like it, then I'm happy to provide a partial refund. There are a lot of bonuses. It is live sessions, so there are some conditions, and it's I would deduct for bonuses sent. So as long as you've attended all the sessions live, you've done the home play work, whatever it is, and you've practiced the tools for 20 minutes a day, I'm happy to give a refund. But I really think that if this resonates with you and you're still here, you would just be happily playing in that playground. You wouldn't want to dive out. Not you guys. All right, so there is going to be a button appear that looks like that. If I can get my act together. And it says, take me there. There it is. Take me there. That will take you to the page. If you right click it and open a different window, that might be even better. And all the things there are to do then is, if you can't get there that way or something happens, you can go quietspaces.ca/online course, and that's what the top of the page looks like. And you can read it and click on your payment choice, do your business with them, and you get 2 bonuses in the email right away, and we can start playing around in the tribe until the group thing starts, until the course starts next week. And that's as easy as that. And that is that. Okay, tell your friends. There's still 2 webinars tomorrow, 1 p.m. Toronto, 1 p.m. Thursday, which is, sorry Heather, I forget, is it 2 hours? 11 a.m. and 10 a.m. BC time. You can email me and get in touch. I'm going to go back to camera mode so we can interact here. So just give me a shake, and then we can do a little bit more playing if you want to play or ask some questions. It's almost 11 o'clock. My goodness. Okay, over to camera. Okay, 2 hours. Yeah, that's what I thought. And I think I'll plan another one for next Tuesday evening. That sounds like a good time because the course starts on Thursday. Yeah. So the people that registered and had tech issues or thought it was too complicated can have another try. So if you want to send somebody to the page, quietspaces.ca, then you can do that by Tuesday night. Any questions or comments or stuff that you want to say about any of this? Shoot and fire. And I can BS as long as you want to stay here. It's only 9 o'clock your time, right, Heather? Be nice to chat. Might give me a call. Here's my number. Cool. I guess I could talk. You can hear me. It's just very disconcerting when I can't hear you. So yeah, thank you for coming, Mikey, and get in touch. And do practice the techniques you learned tonight. Yes, indeed. There will be a replay of this that I will send to you. I'll send you the recording or access to the recording, or you might even get it automatically from webinar, except I might have messed something up there too. Oh, you're leaving. Okay, good. So we'll connect again. Good. All right. So take a look at the course page when you have time and just examine it in more detail and see if that's something that you want to do. And tell your friends. Tell all your weird friends, because the weird ones are the best ones. Right? So are you feeling okay? Any feedback about how it was to do the physical stuff? Alrighty, we'll talk to you again. It'd be nice to see your face. You can see mine, but I can't see yours. So we'll talk on the phone and catch up sometime. Hear all your news, all your amazing kitty stuff. Okay. Have fun at summer games. Let me know how it goes. Your kids must be competing if you're going to summer games. Connect next week. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Bye-bye.